In the year 132 CE, inside the imperial court of Luoyang, something reacted before reality did. No tremor, no sound, no warning. The air was still. The stone floor did not move. The water in ceremonial bowls remained perfectly flat. And yet, a bronze dragon opened its mouth. A metal ball dropped. It pointed west. That should not happen, because nothing in the room felt an earthquake, nothing except the device. And in that moment, the first contradiction enters the record. Because if this object worked, then someone, nearly 2,000 years ago, built a machine that could sense the earth before humans could. Now stop. Because that idea alone should not exist in that century. The archive describes it simply: a vessel, a bronze container, 8 dragon heads, 8 directions. But the descriptions don't behave like decoration. Zhang Heng, a Han Dynasty scientist, designed an instrument intended to detect distant seismic activity. The mechanism, reconstructed in modern labs, relies on inertia, a suspended mass reacting to subtle ground motion. But here's where the contradiction deepens. A legend says the court mocked the device. Until days later, a messenger arrived reporting a catastrophic earthquake in the exact direction indicated. Maybe the story was dramatized, or maybe the implication is real. And if it is, this changes everything, because the machine didn't predict the future. It detected something invisible, not magic, signal. Inside modern reconstructions, the answer feels almost uncomfortable in its simplicity. A pendulum, a trigger, a directional release. Tiny seismic waves, too weak for the human body, arrive first. The machine reacts. Humans follow, which means the device wasn't ahead of its time because it was impossible. It was ahead because it listened earlier. And just like that, the first open loop closes. The impossible machine was never impossible, just early. But then the pattern begins. Because this is not the only object that arrives too soon. In 1936, near Baghdad, a small clay vessel was pulled from the ground. It looked like nothing. Rough, cracked, forgettable. It could have disappeared into storage. Another numbered artifact. Another silent entry in the archive. But someone looked inside, and everything shifted, because inside the jar there was structure, a copper cylinder, an iron rod, sealed with bitumen, and suddenly the second contradiction appears. Because this configuration has only one clear function: electricity. That shouldn't be here. Not in this time. Not in this context. And now the record fractures. Replicas of this object, when filled with an acidic liquid, produce a measurable electrical voltage. It works. Not theory, not imagination, reality. And that's where the tension spikes. Because if it works, then why is there no system around it? No wires, no networks, no devices that depend on it. So what was it for? That question opens the second loop. It was used for electroplating, applying thin layers of metal onto objects. Experiments confirm this is possible. It fits. But the archive refuses to cooperate. No instruction texts. No workshops clearly linked. No repeated systems found in stable context. Just the object. The crate without the manual. And now we have 2 contradictions. A machine that senses invisible forces. A device that generates energy without an ecosystem. And both appear centuries too early. So we step back. We look at the map. China, Mesopotamia, different cultures, different technologies, no shared system. And yet, the pattern begins to form. That's when the third object surfaces. 1901. The Aegean Sea. Divers descend into dark, cold water expecting statues and treasure. Instead, they retrieve something that looks like a stone. Green corrosion. Rough surface. Lifeless. It sits in a crate, unnoticed, for 2 years, until it breaks. And inside are teeth. Metal teeth. Gears. Precise. Layered. Engineered. That's the moment everything changes, because this is no longer coincidence. This is design. The Antikythera mechanism was a complex system of bronze gears capable of modeling astronomical cycles, including lunar motion and eclipse prediction. This is not decoration, this is calculation. And now the contradiction becomes unavoidable. because this level of mechanical computation should not exist for another 1,500 years. And yet, here it is. Inside a shipwreck, inside a fragment, inside a missing context. Now ask the question that destabilizes the entire narrative. If one such machine existed, how many didn't survive? That's the third open loop. Because the archive is not complete. It never was. Metal is recycled. Wood decays. Libraries burn. The record doesn't preserve systems. It preserves accidents, fragments, and fragments lie by omission. So now we place all three objects on the map again. Luoyang, Baghdad, Antikythera, detection, energy, computation. Three functions, three breakthroughs, three contradictions. Patterns feel intentional, but patterns aren't proof. Still, something is wrong, because these are not primitive experiments. They are finished ideas, which leads to the next question. What problems were these machines solving? Why detect earthquakes before they are felt? Why generate electricity without infrastructure? Why calculate the heavens with mechanical precision? And why do these ideas appear, then vanish? Now the science becomes unavoidable. Each device operates on real, known principles. The seismoscope uses inertia. The Baghdad vessel uses electrochemistry. The Antikythera mechanism uses gear ratios to model celestial motion. Nothing supernatural, nothing impossible, but that's exactly what makes it unsettling. Because the knowledge was there, the capability was there, the execution was there. So what was missing? Continuity. That's the real contradiction. Not that ancient civilizations lacked intelligence, but that their knowledge didn't persist. And this is where the modern echo begins. These objects are proof of a lost, advanced civilization, one erased from history. Knowledge was rediscovered repeatedly rather than continuously developed. But the record resists the dramatic version. There is no evidence of a hidden global technological system. No suppressed industrial age, no vanished super-civilization. Instead, what we see is something more fragile. Isolated brilliance, localized innovation, and disappearance. And now the final answer becomes clear. What we know, ancient engineers created devices of remarkable sophistication, sometimes far earlier than expected. What remains plausible, these devices belonged to broader knowledge traditions that are only partially preserved. Fragments of systems we no longer fully see. What is likely myth? That a fully advanced technological civilization existed and was erased. So why do these objects still feel impossible? Because the timeline we believe in is incomplete. History is not a straight line. It's a broken archive, a scattered record, a map filled with missing regions. These objects are not anomalies. They are reminders. That knowledge does not only move forward, it disappears, it fractures, it waits. Not hidden, not forbidden, not supernatural, just not fully remembered. And maybe that's the most unsettling realization of all. Because if entire technologies could vanish once, what are we losing right now, without even noticing?